Hey everybody, today I'm just going to kind of go through your review packet with you guys. This is probably going to be the last video that I have for you. So obviously going over our review, taking the test on Friday. If you guys, next week I'm really not going to do anything that's going to be points. So if there's anything that you need from me, if there's stuff that you need to turn in late, obviously you still have that 7-day window, but this is pretty much it. You know, pretty awesome. We made it through the whole school year. Some of you online the whole time, and hopefully you did well enough that next year you guys get to go and be freshmen and enjoy the high school, right? So let's kind of go through our review packet one last time, and if you guys have any questions, obviously you can email and stuff. So the first one, octagonal prism. So we're talking about faces, bases, edges, vertices. So just to kind of go through this with you guys one more time. Prisms always have two bases. For faces in a prism, it's n plus 2. Remember, n is always how many sides are on this polygon. So it's octagonal, so you do 8 plus 2, so that's 10. For vertices, it's n times 2. That's going to be 16. And then for edges, it's n times 3 for 24. So that's prism rules. The second one, well, I guess number 5 is in between there. I didn't remember that. Number 5 says, what's a polyhedron? 3D shape, flat sides. Those are the two important parts of that. Three-dimensional, solid, you can say solid, but it has flat sides. That's important. Or flat faces would be even better. For pyramids, so we have triangular pyramid, faces, bases, vertices. So for the pyramid rules, for faces, it's n plus 1. So tri means 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. It always has one base because it's a pyramid. Vertices is also n plus 1. You might remember that that's one of the definitions of a pyramid is they have same number of faces as vertices. So that's kind of cool. And then edges is n times 2. And that's going to give you 6. So those rules should be in your notes from before. But if not, I just kind of covered all of them. All right. So then we jump into volume. Right? For volume, we know it's always going to be area of the base times height. If it goes to a point, like a pyramid or a cone, you divide by 3. So the first one is a shape, a weird shape. They give you the area of the base, so we go area of the base times the height. It's not a cone or a pyramid, so our answer is just going to be 6,214 meters cubed. Make sure you label. On your Pythagorean theorem test, I was a little bit nice to some of you online people. Make sure you label on this one. I'm going to take points off. All right, volume is all going to be cubed. Area is all squared. That's a very important distinction. Number 11, the cylinder. So we always start area of the base, which in this case is a circle. So that's going to be pi r squared. And that gave me 153.86. So that's area of the base times the height is 40. And that gives us a volume of 6,154.4 feet cubed. Area of the base times height. Sweet. Number 12, same thing. Rectangular prism. This time my base is a rectangle. So area of the rectangle is going to be length times width. So for me, that's 9 times 4, which is 36. Times that by the height, which is 3, and you get 108 yards cubed. Cool. And then it goes into a series. All of these questions are pretty much exactly what's on the test so far. I think there's 2 sets of those ones with the shapes. You got to write that stuff in. And then the volume and surface area ones, I just try to do like one of each shape. So like a volume of every shape we talked about, and a surface area of every shape we talked about. These ones, however, are kind of interesting. You should just know, from what we talked about with three-dimensional shapes. So a shape with that's a polyhedron with 2 pentagonal bases. If it has two bases, it's a prism. So it's a pentagonal prism. Circle on one end goes to a point. That's a cone. Polyhedron with one hexagonal base. If it has one base, it's a pyramid. So it's a hexagonal pyramid. And then 16 two congruent parallel circular bases is a cylinder. You should know that stuff too. That'll probably be on your test. 17, find the volume. So we're just going to use, it's a sphere. So we use the 4/3 pi r cubed. Just got to plug it in. Obviously on your test, just show me that you're plugging that in, right? Make sure you show your work that you're plugging numbers into these things. If you just write an answer down, I'm going to take points off every single time. You should know that by May, right? So when I plug this in, I got 4,186.67 centimeters cubed. And remember, with all these circle ones, you just have to be close, right? If you use the pi button or 3.14, it's going to be off a little bit, but that's not a big deal. I'll count it either way. Number 18, we have our first cone. So same thing, area of the base. So area of the circle is pi r squared. Be careful with the r here. They give you that a diameter is 12, so the radius is 6. That's what we want. So that gave me 113.04, area of the base, times that by the height. That gave me 1,808.64. But this one's a cone, so it goes to a point, so you got to divide by 3. And when I divided by 3, I got 602.88 inches cubed. Sweet. All right. 19 is got a lot going on, right? So let's see what we got here. We got a height that goes this way, which is 8 meters. We got a height that goes this way, which is, I don't even know, 4 meters. And this side over here is 5 meters, this one's 6 meters, this one's 8 meters. So, sometimes they got a lot of stuff going on, that's totally okay, right? We're still doing the same thing. Area of the base times height, divide by 3 if it goes to a point. So in this case, the base is this triangle, right? So look for the right angle. It'll tell you the base and height. So for us, we're going to go area of the triangle is 1/2 times 6 times 4. Right? That's the bottom triangle. We don't need the 5, we don't need the 8. They're not the ones that meet at the right angle, just the 6 and the 4 are. So 1/2 times 6 times 4 is going to give you 12. That's the area of the base. Times that by the height, which is 96. But it goes to a point, so your last step is divide by 3. So you should have got 32 meters cubed. And that is all the volume ones, right? So on your test tomorrow, you're going to have just about that many volume ones. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So same thing. Area of the base times height, divide by 3 if it goes to a point. If you can do that, then you're all set. Remember, volume is all going to be cubed. Make sure you show your steps, what you do. Don't just write 32 meters down at the end. You're going to get points off for that. I think that's all I got to help you out. All right? Let's jump into the surface area ones. And you guys in class right now, since, if you're online, since I'm not going to be here, they're actually going to watch this video in class too. But you guys are in class right now. If there's ones of these that you're not getting, like you didn't get the answer and you're not sure like what I'm talking about up here, circle that one after the video's over in class. If the sub feels comfortable, then they can try to do it on the board. If not, I'm sure that like somebody got it right. Hopefully somebody got it right in every class, right? At least one. And maybe they can try to explain that on the board or whatever, so that you guys can get it. And if you still don't get it after that, send me a message through Google Classroom or an email, and I will try my best to help you out. All right, let's talk about surface area. So number 20, the first thing we're going to do with all the surface area ones is we're going to break it into shapes, right? So we got 20 is a cylinder. So they're always going to be two circles. In this case, it's pi r squared. So pi times 8 squared. And then that middle part is a rectangle. Now we talked about that in the video, right? In your guys' notes, hopefully you have this written down. The rectangle part is pi times diameter times the height. So in this case, it's going to be pi. If the radius is 8, then the diameter is 16. And the height is 6. So that's what the setup should look like for number 20. Again, you guys are allowed to use your notes, so write that down. Pi times diameter times the height. That's the rectangle. For the cylinder part, the middle part, it's always the same. So two circles pi r squared is going to give you 200.96. But remember, there's two of those. So multiply that by 2. And that gives you 401.92. Remember, you always got to check back here to see how many there are when you multiply. Over here, there's only one rectangle. Pi times 16 times 6 gives you 301.44. And then we're just going to add those together. And that got me 703.36 feet squared. Like so. Is that cut off a little bit? There we go. I didn't even know that the whole time. You guys should have told me. All right. So there's that. Number 21 is a rectangular prism. So we're going to have a lot of rectangles here. Here's how I set mine up. I got two rectangles that are 9 by 10. I got two rectangles. The 9 by 10 is like the side, like the front of the book, I guess, maybe. I have two rectangles that are 3 by 9, which is the bottom and the top. And then I have two rectangles that are 3 by 10, which is like the part facing me, the front and the back, if you will. So that's how I set it up. 9 times 10 is 90. There's two of those. So times 2, you get 180. 3 times 9 is 27. There's two of those. So that's going to be 54. 3 times 10 is 60. There's two of those. And that's going to give you 120. Oh, my bad. I was thinking ahead. 3 times 10 is 30. There we go. Times 2 is 60. That was almost a goof, Oldster. Add them up. Let's see, that's going to give you 294 inches squared. Ooh, I didn't make a big deal out of this on the last one, but now we switched to area, so now they're inches squared and yards squared or whatever. All right, on to the back, almost through. Number 22, we have a cone. All cones are going to be set up the same way too. We have one circle. It's pi r squared. So this time it's going to be pi times 5 squared. And then that round middle part, remember I just call it like the round middle. That one you might want to have in your notes too. Pi times the radius times slant height. Pi RL is what they call it. But pi times radius times slant height. So that's going to be pi times radius again. And the slant height here is 9. So for the circle, pi times 5 squared, I got 78.5. For the round middle part, I got 141.3. And I added those up, and I got 219.8 centimeters squared. And that is my cone. Super. All right, and then 23 is the pyramid. So first off, I noticed the bottom there. I'm just going to call it one rectangle for the base. Looks like a rectangular pyramid. It's actually a square pyramid, so if you put one square, that's totally fine too. But my rectangle here is 7 by 7. And then I have 4 triangles that are all the same. Now remember, those triangles don't have to be the same. In this case, they're only the same because it's a square. We might have 2 and 2 if it was a rectangular pyramid, right? 2 that are the same, 2 that are different. It just depends on what the base is doing. So just take your time, check that out, so that you know what's going on when you set these triangles up. If you wanted to, you could set them all up separately, but it's just easier to set them all up if they're the same, like this. So, area of a triangle is 1/2. Base here is 7 times height is 15. So one triangle, when I did that, is 52.5. But remember, there's 4 of those. So times that by 4. And that gave me a total of 210. So then I just got to add my 4 triangles to my rectangle. And that gave me 259 yards squared. And those are the surface area ones. So pretty standard. On your test, someone asked me in class on Tuesday, do I have to write the shape down? You don't have to write this, but I better see this. Because if I don't see that, then I don't know what you're doing. And really, if you want to get it right, you probably should write the shape down, because that's how you're going to get it right. It's obviously helpful. So do that. All right, last 2. Euler's formula. Euler's formula, again, it should be in your notes, but it's F plus V equals E plus 2. Faces plus vertices equals edges plus 2. So the first one they want to know, just figure out the vertices. So if we plug in what we know, 36 faces, we don't know the vertices, and 84 edges. And then we're just going to solve for V. So 84 plus 2 is 86. And then to get V by itself, subtract 36. And you should have had 50 for the vertices. And then the last problem, the other type, is see if it makes a 3-dimensional shape with the stuff that it gives you. So all we got to do for that one is plug in all the numbers and see if you get the same thing on both sides. So 64 faces, 64 vertices, 130 edges. 64 and 64 is 128. 130 plus 2 is 132. Those numbers are not the same, so not a solid. It's not going to be a polyhedron. They're not going to go together the right way. All right, cool. So that is the review. Now, for those of you in class, you still have, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes left. Go through your notes. Like I said on Tuesday, find the last page of your notebook. Write all the stuff that you think you're going to need for this test. That will be helpful for you. Obviously, like I said, ask questions if you guys have any. Right, go through those with your substitute, with other kids in class. Make sure you guys know how you're setting up all those problems. And then, like I said, tomorrow is your test, and we should be golden. Cool. Like I said before, if there's anything that you need from me, let me know. I'll be around. Send me an email, send me a remind, and I can help you guys out. All right, y'all. Later.